Yeah! Finally, I get to show off my strength in the greatest tournament ever! I can't wait to see all the strong fighters! I better not keep them waiting! Oh my gosh! I must have hit someone!
What's this?
It's Galetta!
Well, let's see what we got here. To whoever may consent, I certainly consent. This commit
Super Smash Brothers!
The two-legged spinach machine, Popeye the Sailor Man. To be completely honest, I wasn't expecting to do this moveset for a while, but a certain someone whose name is Ink Thinks put out a challenge to talk about my most wanted fourth party rep in Smash.
I want to challenge my friends Obese Rob, Lunatic, Anerdymous, and Blastbox to make your own fourth party list and see how it stacks up.
And who am I to pass up a challenge? Either way, I love Popeye, so I'm more than happy to talk about him in Smash, especially since he was so influential to gaming as a whole. He's had a long history with Nintendo even before video games were really their thing, appearing on trading cards that they produced. In the late 70s, however, Shigeru Miyamoto had decided it was finally time for him to get his own game. Unfortunately, they had lost the license to Popeye, so in a moment of desperation, Miyamoto had no choice but to keep the project, which would then turn into none other than
Donkey Kong!
That's right. Without Popeye, there'd be no Donkey Kong, which would mean no Mario, which would mean no Smash Brothers at all. Popeye in this case is more than deserving to be the fourth party rep that should be in Smash, as without him, the series wouldn't exist at all. With how influential Popeye was to gaming, it's too bad that there's no Popeye video games out there that could make for a cool moveset. That's right, there are no games whatsoever. Absolutely none. Not a single video game around Popeye. Alright, listen. Let's just say Popeye had a rocky transition into gaming. So I'm really just taking whatever I can get, and I used anything I could pull from these games to make this moveset, as you will see. I had to take some from the cartoons, but I tried to stay true to video game moves only for the most part. Popeye will be a low-end middleweight fighter, and he isn't very tall. He has 2 jumps, and he's able to crawl. Just busted a rhyme just now. Popeye's jab will be a very powerful one-hit sock to the face, similar to Ganondorf's. This is a reference to the move he does in the NES version of Popeye, as well as a few other titles. His dash attack will have him charge while he holds out his fists. The F-tilt will have Popeye unleash a couple of rapid gut punches. This is a reference to the move he does in Popeye 2 for the Commodore 64. You may ask, what is Popeye 1 for the Commodore 64? It was pretty much the exact same game. The up tilt will have Popeye deliver an uppercut before he points to the sky as a sort of taunt. This is a reference to Popeye no Aigo Asobi, which is basically Hangman. Yep, it's Hangman, where they give you the Japanese word and you have to choose the English version of it. And his down tilt will have him deliver a low kick forward. This is the move he does in Popeye 3, Wrestle Crazy. This is the third in the Commodore 64 trilogy, and the natural progression, of course, is Popeye on a regular adventure, to Popeye on the same regular adventure to Popeye going into space and wrestling a bunch of aliens. Popeye the Sailor Man. On to the smash attacks. Popeye's forward smash will have him wind up before he delivers a powerful left hook. His up smash will cause his arm to grow even larger before he swings it above him. And this has a chance to shoot out an empty can as a projectile. This is a reference to Popeye 2 for the Game Boy, which is a platformer of sorts. You may ask, oh, what's Popeye 1 for the Game Boy? It's a fucking maze! It's literally just a maze! It's a Japanese exclusive game where Popeye just goes through a maze to find olive oil and his people and his food and stuff, and what a weird progression to just a maze to a platformer, which is probably one of the best ways to represent a Popeye game. And they did it, and they made his arm really big, and he fights a snowman and a pharaoh and a dinosaur. It's so weird. I don't understand any of it. Popeye's down smash will have him take out an anchor and swing it around himself. This is the first of many references to Popeye Ichiwara Majou Seihag no Maki for the Super Nintendo. He doesn't do this move, but this anchor weapon is one of his prominent items in the game. You may ask, oh, what is Popeye Ichiwara Majou Seihag no Maki? Well, honestly, it's not a bad game. It's probably the best in the list. But it's a platformer inside Mario Party. You roll the number and you go on a little playboard, and then you play a platformer game. And like, it's an okay game. It's definitely the best of the bunch. But just what a weird idea. Onto the aerials. Popeye's neutral air will have him create a cartoonish cloud of smoke around him as multiple punches and kicks fly out. This is more of a reference to the classic cartoons that pull off this trope. However, he does do this move in Popeye and the Sunken Treasure, a 3D Popeye game, from what I can tell, has no gameplay. I don't know how you play the game at all. I think it is just a Popeye visual novel. His forward air will have him use a pogo stick, which launches the opponent away. This is a reference to the 2003 Game Boy Advance title, Popeye Rush for Spinach, a racing game, a foot racing game, with silly, funny power-ups and vehicles that you can use to aid in your lust and rush for spinach. Man, I love spinach. For the back air, Popeye will turn around and do a powerful hook that can spike the opponent. This is very similar to King K. Rool's. The up air will cause Popeye to swing his arm above him, which is similar to the up smash but in the air and doesn't cause his arm to grow. The down air will have Popeye do a strong spiking punch in a diagonal direction, similar to Ryu's and Terry's. A very cool move for a fighter to have. This is a reference to Popeye Beach Volleyball. It's okay. It's okay. I've gotten through most of the games. Popeye will have a two-handed grab, and his pummel will have him headbutt the opponent. The forward throw will cause Popeye to lift him up and toss them away, which is something he does in Popeye 3 Wrestle Crazy. The back throw will have Popeye spin the opponent around above him as he takes his other arm and punch them away. This is a reference to how he finishes boss fights in Ichiwara Majou Seihag no Maki. For the up throw, he'll take the anchor and spin it around rapidly, having the opponent bounce on it a couple times before they fly upward. And the down throw, Popeye will do a double axe handle, slamming the opponent into the ground with his large forearms and burying them. Popeye's neutral special will be his famous Twiska Punch. Strangely, Popeye doesn't use his famous Twister Punch in any of the video games, but am I really surprised that Popeye doesn't do a cool move in his video games? This is a very famous move that he does in the cartoon, so I decided nonetheless it should absolutely be one of his specials. When you press B, Popeye will begin winding up his fist. This has a very similar charge time to Little Mac's neutral special, and like Little Mac's neutral special, if you press B again, he will do the punch early and deliver a much weaker version. However, if he does it fully charged, he'll unleash a powerful uppercut that sends the opponents to the sky. His side special will have Popeye unleash his anchor whip, as it goes in a straight direction and comes back to himself, very similar to Zero Suit Samus' side B, and as well can be used as a tether. This is just a basic one-hit disjoint attack, but it does deliver a very strong amount of damage. Again, this is his main weapon of choice in Ijiwado Majo Sieg no Maki. For the up special, Popeye will whirl around quickly as he becomes a tornado and fly upwards. Another very famous thing he's known to do in the cartoons. This has some left and right movement, but it mainly is used to go upwards. This is sort of similar to Meta Knight's neutral special, except this move works like a multi-hit. In the down special, we'll have Popeye roll a tire. This not only deals damage, but it also blocks all projectiles in its path and will continue until the apex or until it gets to the edge of the stage. This is one of the few other weapons that you can use in Ijiwado Majo Sieg no Maki. Popeye's final smash? What do you think it was gonna be? Popeye pops the can as the spinach flies into his mouth and he'll charge forward, accompanied by his famous leitmotif. If it hits someone, Popeye will begin rapidly beating up the opponent with his newly found strength, as it ends with him jumping into the air and slamming a large boat onto them. And not only that, this boat can also hit and even spike opponents that come in contact with it, even if they're not the target of the final smash. Popeye's default costume will have him in his most signature look, with his white hat and black shirt and blue jeans and, you know, it's on screen. You know what it looks like. His second alt will give him a blue hat with a red Hawaiian shirt and white shoes, which is a reference to his look in Popeye and Son. The third alt is a reference to Poop Deck Pappy, as he wears a shirt reminiscent of old school Navy uniforms and khaki pants, two things that I associate with an old sailor. The next alt will have Popeye completely grayscale. This is a reference to not only the Game & Watch screen that he came in, and not only the Game Boy version that he's shown in, but it is also a reference to old black and white cartoons. The next alt will have Popeye in an all-purple attire. This is a reference to Bluto in the NES games. The sixth alt will have Popeye don the colors of NES Mario. And for the final two alts, Popeye will have an alternate costume referencing his sailor uniform, which is also what he shows up in the NES game. And the final alt is a reference to him in the NES game when he collects the spinach, turning his skin red and his black attire blue. The Kirby hat will give him Popeye's signature closed eye and eyebrows, and it will also give him anchor tattoos on his forearms. Popeye's on-screen will have him come in on a rowboat before he hops out, picks it up, and throws it away. For the first taunt, Popeye will point and laugh at the opponent. For the second taunt, his face will turn angry red and his pipe will spin around. And for the third taunt, he'll do a funny little dance. Popeye's victory theme will be the end of his famous theme song that plays in the cartoons. For the first victory animation, Popeye will walk out while carrying the anchor over his shoulder before he flexes with his other arm and smiles, a reference to Ijiwado Majo Sieg no Maki for the final time. Popeye wins! For his second victory animation, his girlfriend Olive Oil will give him some congratulatory kisses as he winks at the camera. Popeye
Wins!
And for his final victory animation, Popeye, like how he ends most cartoons, will finish with his signature theme song. Popeye the Sailor Man. Popeye's stage will be none other than the island nation of Spinachovia. This will be very similar to Totemimer Island, however, spinach will randomly pop up from the ground and when consumed will give the player a strength buff. Also, Popeye's ship, the Spinacher, will sometimes sail up on either side. Those are both real names of the place and the boat in Popeye. That doesn't make me quite as mad, does it? For his classic mode, there is nothing more fitting than Popeye in Hiskery Riskin' Fisks. This, of course, faces off against some of the most historical video game icons of all time. Ones that absolutely dominated and changed the face of gaming as a whole, much like he did. The first match will be against Pac-Man, which came out in 1980. The second match, surprise surprise, is against Mario and Giant Donkey Kong, which came out in 1981. However, Popeye will be teamed by Mr. Game & Watch, a platform that actually had one of his video games. The next match will be Hero, when Dragon Quest I came out in 1986. The next match will be against Ryu and Ken, with Street Fighter coming out in 1987. The next match will be against Pikachu, with Pokemon coming out in 1996. The next match is an army of Mii brawlers, referencing the era of the Wii and Wii Sports which came out in 2006. Then you have the bonus game. And the final boss will be Master Hand, representing the Super Smash Bros. Series as a whole. I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. This series has no representation in Smash besides a reference in Brawl, so I am adding 10 spirits from the Popeye franchise. The first match will be against J. Wellington Wimpy, which will be a Luigi who gets stronger after eating and is easily distracted by items. The next match is Eugene the Jeep, which is a tiny Mewtwo. Third spirit is Olive Oil, which is a Wii Fit trainer with a home run bat. The next spirit is Bernard. This is a giant Ridley who will favor up special. The next spirit is the Plasmatic Shadow Man from Wrestle Crazy. This is an invisible Incineroar who has very powerful throws. The next spirit is Bolo. I honestly don't know if this character appears in the show or not, but he does appear in Ikiwara Majo Sieg no Maki, and I'm basing the fight on that. This will be a little mech who has strong super armor, as well as dashes that deal damage. The next spirit is Alice the Goon. This will be a Donkey Kong and a tiny Popeye, who, if the tiny Popeye is to get KO'd first, will become much stronger. The next spirit is Snowman. This is one of the bosses that appears in Popeye 2 for the Game Boy. This is a giant King K. Rool who will deal damage when falling, and invisible ice climbers who favor neutral and down special. The next to last spirit is the Sea Hag. This will be a Corrin, a Donkey Kong, and a giant Ridley, and when the Corrin is KO'd, a giant Charizard. And the final spirit will be Bluto. This is a giant Wario who has strong fist attacks, however, just like Bluto, he's gonna cheat. Sometimes your controls are gonna be reversed. Sometimes you'll be slowed down, and sometimes your gravity will be increased. Whew, boy. That does it for Popeye the Sailor Man in Smash. I've said it so many times already, but I feel like it's still necessary to say it again. Popeye is easily one of the most influential non-video game characters on the gaming landscape. And with what he has done for not only gaming but Smash Brothers specifically, I think he deserves a role as the non-video game character to be in Smash. Besides, Pennybags and the other non-video game characters I have planned to do eventually. But that's besides the point. Even though Popeye's games themselves have been rather bad and broke me while doing research and made me very, very upset, I nonetheless would love to have him in Smash and fight along all the icons that he helped create. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this moveset as much as I hated researching for it. And if you did really like this moveset, go ahead and check out Inkthing's channel, link in the description. He makes amazing videos, and he's the one that pushed me to do this, even though I was planning to do it already. So Ink, I hope you're happy with my answer to your challenge, and I will say, if you, not you Ink, if you, the people, have a wacky character that you want to see in Smash, put them in the comments below, and I may take a crack at it someday.